Hey everybody, this is Chad Jordan. I'm the Director of Marketing for Digital Services over here at Sport Clips. This is another edition of our Hall of Fame podcast. This is going to be a fun one because we get to interview one of the founders of one of our favorite product lines. In fact, why don't I go ahead and have him introduce himself?
Hi everybody at Sport Clips. This is Brian Long, or everybody knows me as Gib from Gibs Grooming. And it is an honor to be down here and being interviewed on this podcast so that I can talk about not just how I got in this business, but how my relationship has grown through the support of all the people at Sport Clips, from the corporate office through everybody in every store, and building a brand and giving me and my family a life.
Well, one thing I think I'm going to be interested in is how long did it take for you to get Sport Clips right? I mean, it had to have been Sports Clips for the first, number of years probably. But now, I mean, you nailed it every single time you said it. Sport Clips.
Well, I practiced. I practiced quite a bit. In the beginning, I kept slipping, and then I was coming up to my first huddle where I'd have to give my first speech on the stage in front of all those people, and I think I practiced it hundreds of times. Sport Clips,
yes.
Sport Clips,
Yes.
Sport Clips.
And it gets noticed when you do it correctly. And I got to just tell this quick story, and then we'll get to you. That's who everybody wants to hear from. We were at the Darlington races this past weekend, and Gordon was there, of course, our CEO and founder, and Coach Gibbs comes to the hospitality area to talk to everybody and grabs the microphone, and he starts talking. And a time or two he's slipped up in front of a lot of people and called it Sports Clips. And this time, I said Gordon was literally right behind him, a couple feet behind him. And Coach Gibbs said Sport Clips, and he nailed it twice. He said it twice, and I look over to Gordon both times. He's smiling from ear to ear. He's elbowing the person next to him, like, "Yes, this guy, he's got it."
He nailed it. Yeah.
So whenever you say it correctly, an angel gets its wings. It's one of these moments. So we appreciate that. Obviously, we have a great relationship with you personally, with your company. It didn't happen overnight. Your success didn't happen overnight. So here's what I'm interested in today. For everybody listening out there, I think they're going to be on the edge of their seats as they hear how your story unfolds over the last 10, 20 years,
right?
And how you got to be here. Gib and I had breakfast this morning, and I was joking that I wanted to get him on the podcast before his life gets turned into a movie because it's so doggone interesting. But take me back kind of through the eclectic path that took you to where you are today.
Well, I've been given the tag and the name as a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
And,
so you're instead of a serial murder or whatever,
No.
it's serial entrepreneur. You're always out there pushing the envelope with businesses. Okay, I like it.
Love creativity, love new ideas, and trying to take an idea and making it a reality. And if there's money at the end of it, it's even more of a benefit. Mm-hmm. But I've done a lot of things over the years. I grew up in New York. And I grew up always, whether it be a lemonade stand or anything, I was always on a hustle. Mm-hmm. And so in high school, I was a bagel baker just as a job.
Okay, that's where the bagel side comes from. New York. Okay, I'm starting to connect the dots here. All right.
And I am a food snob, like all good New Yorkers are, when it comes to Italian food and bagels and deli and things like that. Of course, the pizza. And I did it all. I worked in food quite a bit. And then in my late teens, I got a taste for a band called the Grateful Dead, which a lot of you know about.
Right. Little known band called the Grateful Dead, one of the biggest bands of all time.
It's funny when I stand up in some of these leaderships and stuff
Oh,
and say,
stylists.
I'm like, has anybody ever heard of the Grateful Dead? And sometimes it's like less than a quarter of the hands go up. So I guess it dates me, but at the same time, it was a movement that I am proud to be a part of, and that
is your whole wardrobe at home all tie-dye? How does that work?
I've got some in there.
Okay.
In fact, I was wearing them this weekend when we were out at the fish shows. Yeah. So, but on that Grateful Dead experience, and after I went to the first couple of shows, I started to conduct business on the parking lots, whether it be, I started making tie-dyes, I started selling bagels, I started selling beers and waters, and everything I could do to hustle to make money so I could go to the next Grateful Dead show.
Wow.
And at the time, I didn't realize that I was conducting business. There's been books written about the marketing secrets of the Grateful Dead, the entrepreneurial drive that comes from the Grateful Dead. There's been so many people that have learned how to do what I call real business, which is life business on the lot, the parking lot. I always refer to as the lot. So anyway, coming off of that,
and what time frame is this? Is this?
I was in the
late
Jerry
Garcia
80s.
is still alive at this point, right?
Yeah,
So, okay.
Garcia was alive, late 80s, early 90s, and then he dies. And for those that you don't know, Jerry Garcia was the driving force behind the Grateful Dead. He was the front man, and when he passed, we all didn't know what to do. As wandering souls and people that traveled with this band for years, we had to figure out what to do. So what did I do?
It feels like, you remember that scene from Forrest Gump when he's running and he's running and he's running, and then all of a sudden he stops running and he turns around and he has all these people that have been following them, and they're all like, well, what are we going to do now that you're not running? He's like, I don't know. That kind of feels like that was your moment, right? You guys were all following Jerry and the Grateful Dead, and well, now what?
Now what? So I still liked being a Rolling Stone, and I still liked, traveling the country. And I was a big snowboarder and outdoors person, a fisherman, still am. And Colorado was the motherland for snowboarding.
For sure.
So I came out here to spend a few months and had an epiphany with my entrepreneurial eyeball that there was absolutely no bagels in the state of Colorado. And there were so many of us New Yorkers here that were transplants.
Hankering for a good bagel.
Yeah. I'm the guy that can bring it.
Yeah.
So I started the process of trying to open a bagel store, which was a lot different than opening a parking lot venue. It took 2 years, but after 2 years of persistence and trying to get money together and learn about what it takes to not just know how to make a bagel, but to run a business.
So you have your own bagel oven? I mean, that's a process.
Well,
right?
I went in. I was delivering pizza for Domino's, and so I ended up going into their management training program for the sole purpose of learning how to own run a restaurant, so I could open my bagel shop. And then after getting an SBA loan and again, 2 years, I went back to New York. I bought all the same equipment that I learned on in New York out on Long Island, put it in a truck, drove it out, and set up the kitchen the same way I had it in New York. I had to put out the real deal. I had to make sure that my money was where my mouth was.
You weren't going to get the frozen Costco brand that you just throw out there. Okay.
And so anyway, we opened up Gibs Bagels.
And where? What city are we in Colorado?
We are in Fort Collins, Colorado. Okay. And Gibs.
Is that a college town?
Yes.
Okay.
Colorado State University. Also the home of Otterbox.
Oh, yeah.
New Belgium Brewery and Hewlett Packard. There's a lot of good anchor businesses there. And so I get Gibs New York Bagels open. And it killed it.
Where did the Gibs name come from?
That's been a nickname I've had since I was a little kid with no story behind it.
Really?
I wished I had something for you.
Okay. But it stuck.
I just don't. It stuck.
Yeah, all right,
you know why it stuck? Because I hated it. I hated it. I used to fight my brother when he'd lay it on me, and teachers would call me that. People called me. And then when it came to opening the actual bagel store, I was actually going to call it Lock, Stock, and Bagel.
Oh, nice.
But then someone said, no, call it Gibs Bagels. So I called it Gibs, and that Gibs New York Bagel.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, I always had other hustles going on.
Yeah.
I heard you say earlier you owned a juice bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I owned Pacific Juice, Gibbs Pacific
Okay.
Juice. So
all right.
when that trend started, I tried to jump on that, and I was humbled very quickly.
Yes.
It was a tough business to have in Colorado, and it was
It's a
before
better
its time.
idea than it is a business.
Yeah. So I had the smoothie bars, and I had the Gibbs Bagels, and I was just trucking, and it kept growing, and things were happening, and it was so much more than just a bagel shop. Whatever I did, I threw my heart and life into, and it was an extension of me. So and there's a lot of people in Sport Clips who have been in my bagel stores that get that feeling of like This isn't just about a round piece of bread.
It's culture. There's something
It's a culture.
there. Yeah. And how many are you at now? How many stores?
There's 5.
Okay.
And I sold them. That's part of this story.
All right.
But for 15 years strong, I had it. I built it.
So we're talking the 90s and early 2000s?
Yes, till 2007 I sold it.
Okay.
I just, I created all these generations of college students and high school students that learned how to get a job and work and train. And I still get letters and phone calls today from people that are 30, 40 years old that said that the Gibs experience was exactly what I just called it, an experience. Yeah. It wasn't just a place to eat. We had parties, we did stuff, we raised money, we supported the town, and the town supported us, and we went into a whole thing about local business as all these bagel stores were coming in, the franchises like Bruegger's and Einstein's, and we ran them out of town. Literally, the town ran them out of town. Yeah, it was awesome. It was that small town.
Like, how dare you try to tread on our turf? Of
we
Gibbs,
started a movement
New York
called
Bagels.
Subvert the Corporate Bagel.
Yeah.
And there was an Einstein bagel across the street from mine that literally shut down. So it was great. And eventually, I just, like anything, I got burnt out.
Yeah.
Food is tough business.
Yes.
Bagels, you get up at
brother.
2 in the morning. Yeah. So I got burnt, and I decided to sell it. And
did you have young kids at this time, or?
They were in high school.
Okay.
At this time, like just middle school, high school. And so I put it up for sale, and within 3 days, a guy walked in who said he wanted to buy it. He never even baked a cookie or worked in a restaurant, but he was sick of being an IT man. And so I sold it to him.
So your dream became someone else's dream. You were able to hand that off.
And I had to work with him for 6 months and show him how to run the business. And I sold it to him, and we became friends over that 6 months, and we were like-minded individuals. And today in Gibs Grooming, that is my partner, who we refer to as Big Smooth.
Oh, okay.
So Big Smooth now owns the Gibbs Bagels.
Okay.
And still owns them and continues to grow them and carry the name proudly. I still act like I own them. I walk in, I'll critique the food, I yell at the employees, and I make myself at home. But as we worked together for months and we got to know each other, we would always throw ideas up on the wall. And we were fishermen, and we're hunters, and we would fish. And a girl came into the bagel store, she's today the general manager. She's worked there for 17 years.
Wow.
Since a high school kid. And she came in and she had a feather in her hair that her father, who was a fishing buddy of mine, put in there that looked really cool. And it was a feather we used for fly fishing out here in Colorado. And not only did I think it looked cool in her hair, all the customers coming into the bagel store thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
So as I called it creeping, because I hang out, like the guy who graduates high school and doesn't know what to do, and he hangs around the high school. Yeah. That was me. I sold my bagel company.
Right.
I didn't know what to do, so I still hung around the bagel company. Yeah. I was like, people were making so many comments on her feather in her hair. She started putting it in people's hair in the lobby of the bagel store at $10 a pop, and they cost us a nickel. And so I encouraged her to start a company. My entrepreneurial bells were going up, and she just didn't want to do it. So I bought a domain name, hairfeathers.com, and Googled beauty show, saw that there was a show in my hometown in New York City, and
I figured, hey, why not go make a road trip out of this and go see some family members and try to launch
a company called Hair Feathers, and start. Not in hindsight, I didn't realize it, but we started a trend.
Yeah.
And there were
no experience in the beauty industry.
None.
You literally had to Google to see if this was
beauty
even a thing.
Show. Yeah. Because I knew trade shows. Everything's got a trade show. Yeah. Hunting, fishing, boating, cars. Everything has a trade show. So I knew there were only 3 farmers that could grow these hair feathers nationwide. They're actually genetic specialists that grow these very long, sheen feathers that could, when we made flies out of them for fishing, when a fish would eat it, it would not fall apart. Well, women, when they put them in their hair, they could blow dry them, curl them, and they wouldn't come out. leave them there for a month. So I bought
It could survive a nuclear,
everything.
reaction or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I bought everything from those farmers on a risk. I went in, met them, said, how much do you have? They told me. I bought everything they had.
Did they think you were joking when you asked for their entire inventory, or?
They thought I was nuts. They thought I was nuts. I thought I was nuts.
Uh-huh.
I was
You got to do it when you're a serial entrepreneur. You just got to.
I mean, it's like
go
this.
for it.
If I only bought a couple and there's only a limited supply and then it worked.
Yeah. You'd be kicking yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to do it unless it worked. I'm go big or go home.
Mm-hmm.
So we went big. We bought everything. I invested a lot of money in it.
How many feathers are we talking about? 1,000, 10,000, millions.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. We sold.
That's amazing.
Well, we went to the beauty show, and like you were saying earlier, we had no idea.
Right.
I went in. I had a duffel bag. I was wearing my jeans, boots, and a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I had a duffel bag that was full of the feathers, and I had no booth. No pop-up, no marketing material. I just had my
please tell
feathers.
me you recorded this on video or a picture or something. Oh, man.
But I didn't because I didn't know what to expect. But
Yeah.
what was cool was when I walked into that beauty show, and this is the truth. I walked into the IBS show, International Beauty Show in New York.
Yeah.
Javits Center, the energy, the music, the artistry.
Yeah.
I was back on a Grateful Dead parking lot.
Okay. All right.
So I felt
man,
home.
that adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
check it out. I'm on beauty tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm the farthest thing from beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hippie. I barely use soap,
Right.
let alone own a men's grooming line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I come in, we launch this thing.
So what? Do you have a booth? I mean, how does this work, or do you just?
I have a table.
Okay.
It comes with a table and 2 chairs.
Any signage or anything?
We took garbage cans, literally the garbage cans from
Yeah.
the loading dock, and flipped them upside down and used them as extra tables.
Oh my goodness.
And we met stylists that were walking the floor, and I was just hiring them and just saying, jump in here and help us.
Okay.
And they were doing the installs. And me and Smooth and Frankie Beans, he's another guy who works in our company, we were selling. And the girls were doing the installs.
Okay.
And we just had this thing going. And next thing you know, CNBC was there. All the news
I'd never
channels.
seen anything like it.
We were the new thing.
Wow.
Because there was nothing new that year.
Mm-hmm.
So
And what year was this?
this was 7 years ago. So what would that make it?
2011.
2011.
Okay.
2010
So
maybe.
so pretty recent. All right.
And so we walk in. We have all these feathers. We start this movement. Everybody wants the feathers. We get them to go on American Idol with Steven Tyler.
Yeah.
He puts them in his hair.
Oh, okay. That was where it started?
Done.
What?
Done. I mean, our phone, I literally would watch on my cell phone our website,
Yeah.
and it looked like a dream.
Yeah.
As every day we do $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in sales.
Oh my gosh.
And it was short-lived.
Oh, okay.
We sold out of feathers. I sold $3 million worth of feathers.
You bought all the feathers, millions, which I didn't. I was really thinking it was like 1,000. So there were millions of them,
Yes.
and you sold them all out.
Sold them all.
So that gamble paid off.
Yep. Made a ton of money.
But
and now I have nothing to sell.
there's no more feathers.
So I get the farmers together because I was getting greedy. And I felt like this is easy money.
Yeah.
Like the guy who figured out how to bottle water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was genius.
Right. Here we are drinking a couple ourselves.
Me and you right now. So then we have, so I get the farmers together, these 3 guys, and I say, all right, let's pool our resources. And we hatched 20,000 roosters.
What?
Yeah, 20,000 roosters
Oh my
to
gosh.
grow a huge mountain of feathers. And I was going to be the feather czar of the world.
Oh Lord have mercy.
I was known as my friends as Pablo Escafeather. And I was going to control the market.
That's great.
But they take a year to grow.
Oh.
This is getting to how I got a men's grooming line.
Okay.
And so after the year, and there was no feathers, so the trend died.
Right. Yeah.
I set up at a beauty show with some of that money that I made in a nice booth, and I spent money on 20,000 roosters. So even though we sold $3 million of feathers, you know, we reinvested a lot of it. And I set up my table, and I was in Long Beach, California. First show of the beauty season. I'm ready to go on Beauty Dead tour, and everybody walks by the table like, "Oh, feathers! Yeah, I remember that. That was cool." And they just kept walking.
Cool. Oh, ouch!
Big piece of humble pie.
Oh man!
But I wanted to stay in my new Grateful Dead parking lot.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay in the beauty industry, so I started to dabble with other things. I made hair chalk, which was temporary hair color.
Huh. And it, like it sounds, you rub it into somebody.
Rub it in your hair.
Okay.
All
right.
And
for guys, gals, that doesn't matter.
Mainly girls,
okay.
but it worked. But again, it kept me in the industry. It kept me meeting people because I talked to people all the time. So I was meeting a lot of the people that founded and built this industry. And my friend, his name's Tom, who I grew up with and did a lot of Dead tour with. He came to one of my shows, and he's got this big burly beard, and he was walking around the beauty show like Gib.
I did feel guilty shaving this morning. I was just like, man, I'm going to be meeting Gib, and here I am.
Shaven,
I know. Jeez, I'm embarrassed. All right, so your guy, he's got a big burly beard.
And he went around and talked to all these hair places like Moroccan Oil or Chi or whoever, and said, excuse me, do you have beard oil? And they were like, well, no, we have oil that you could put in your beard. And I used to use Moroccan oil in my beard because it felt good.
Have you always been like kind of cropped, or did you have
no, I was clean shaven.
Okay.
Up for a good portion, like when I was in the food business, you don't want to have a beard, you know. So after that, I kind of liberated myself and grew the beard out and kind of went mountain man style.
Okay.
And so he said, he came back to my booth. I'm trying to sell my chalk, and he says, Gib, this place is crazy. Where'd you get yourself involved? How do you end up in places like this? He's doing all. He's like, I think your next thing should be beard oil, because no one has that, and it's needed. And I was like, it sounds crazy, like hair feather.
Right. Yeah. So
then we're rallying with my friends, and we're all talking about it over the months. And the hair chalk's dying. I don't want to leave the industry. I'm like, maybe my friend's onto something. So, like the bagels, when I opened up the bagels, I just opened bagels because I knew what was happening. I mean, I knew that I wanted to have a bagel shop.
Yeah.
But what was happening was there was actually a bagel boom. Bagel stores started opening everywhere. And I happened to be in the right place.
Adkins diet be damned. Yeah.
Right place, right time.
Right.
So I then bring the word hair feather to the beauty industry. And from what I've learned is it's very hard to bring something new to the beauty industry. People keep recreating shampoos, recreate conditioners, they're recreating making a better mousetrap. But to bring a brand new product to the beauty industry is very hard to do.
Especially as an outsider. I mean,
yeah.
You Googled this trade show and everything. It's not like you had credentials that you went and everybody, oh, we know who that is. Come on in and introduce your new product to us.
Right.
But so you're literally breaking glass ceilings here and getting into an industry that it's very tough to break into with new products. You've done it once before, and so now that's given you a little experience or momentum to possibly do it again.
It gave me people. It gave me relationships.
Okay.
It gave me people that have helped me build this company. So that's like the next part of this journey is I'm like, all right, well, I use Moroccan oil. My friend Tom is right, where there is no product called beard oil in professional beauty. So I sat down with one of my mentors that I met along the way. His name was Mike Nave. He owned a periodical called the Beauty Industry Report.
Okay.
And he'd been in the industry since he was 16. He is 82 years old now.
Wow.
So he has seen everything. And I sat down with him in Vegas, and I got him a little drunk. And I told him... I said, listen, I have this idea. and I don't want you to laugh at me, but I want to know how I don't know how to put it in a bottle and get it on the shelf. I don't know how to formulate it and fragrance it.
Yeah.
I don't know about FDA and all. And so I told him the idea. He's like, I don't think that's funny. I think it's brilliant.
Wow.
He's like, and this is who you're going to talk to. And he gave me the name of a woman named Donna Federici. She created Big Sexy Hair in the 90s with Michael O'Rourke.
Okay.
And
so she knew a thing or two.
she's created a lot of incredible brands. She's done incredible things in the beauty industry. I call her Oz.
All right.
The only people that know her are the people that have worked with her, but the general public doesn't. She doesn't like to be known that way. She's brilliant at
Behind
what
the
she
scenes,
does.
making things happen.
So that whole swag and vibe that you get from our brand on a shelf and our booths and our people, she's been the mind behind it.
Wow.
And her mind works so well that the day that I met her, well, let me back up a second. So I meet with Mike. He says to go meet Donna Federici, make this contact. Here's a manufacturer that can formulate.
And at this point, you didn't even have anything to show. You had an idea, right?
I was making potions in my garage.
Like with a witch's brew, in a kettle pot.
I just knew that I liked argan oil because that was what Moroccan oil was. But then I, read about other essential oils and stuff and started to make my own blends. But Donna's a master at fragrances, really, and the marketing aspect. So I call her up. She's like, who told you to call me? And
how'd you get this number?
Yeah, what are you doing? And I told her I wouldn't tell her over the phone. She had to meet me. She didn't really want to meet me. She was
at this point, is she retired from the industry?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got a foot out the door. She lives on her compound down in Arizona, happily ever after.
Yeah.
But I did get her to meet with me, and I flew to Arizona. She met me at a hotel, and me and Big Smooth, and we spent about 6 minutes talking about beard oil, and about 4 hours talking about this journey that I've just been sharing with everybody. And she said, listen, I don't know if she exactly said it this way, but it was more like, I don't think you could afford me. And I am, getting to the end of my rope with the beauty industry. But this is intriguing, and I've never done anything in men's. And I love that you're not from the beauty industry.
Oh, wow. That was
very refreshing to her. Because as a consultant, which she is, people hire her and then tell her what they want to do.
Yes.
And it gets frustrating. So it was like an unspoken rule that she would then work with us.
But she's pretty much calling the shots in terms of...
I say what goes.
Yeah.
The day you push back, it's the day I'm gone. You know why? Because you've never built a brand.
Right. Wow.
And I was like, I'm humble.
Yeah, and you've already been humbled from a number of experiences in life, so now you're able to accept this advice, and you're in a position to handle this.
So she folds. We start working together, and she said, "I'll work with you for 3 months, and we'll get this product called beard oil out on the shelf." So, long story short, we got it out. We were trying to get...
Was it really 3 months, or did she give you a little longer?
It took about 3 months to formulate it and do our first batch, but we couldn't settle on one fragrance. That's why our first beard oils are 3. There's the 3 colors, the red, the blue, and the yellow. And they're all the same.
So those are the originals?
Those are the original.
Wow. All right.
And I remember when I got them from her, she sent them in the mail, and I looked at them because I had this vision of like cobalt blue bottles in glass.
Oh yeah, like the ones like the skulls.
Fancy. And these 3 short little plastic bottles come in, and I know I'm not allowed to say anything, and I'm like,
you don't want to risk that or walking away.
And so I was like, wow. And in the back of my mind, I was like, this isn't what I pictured, but I know that she's the one.
Yeah.
She's calling the shots. So in an indirect way, I was just kind of like, oh, this is like, how'd you pick this? She said, don't you see? It's like, it's you. It's simple. It's
Is that flattering or is
that?
that...
She's like, it's clunky. It's out of the box.
Wow.
and you're not a tin soldier on the shelf like all these other brands that line up and match.
Yeah.
You are not from the beauty industry, and this brand, because it's going to be bigger than beard oil, Gib, she said it, is going to be who you are in a brand with products behind it. And that is what we're going for here. So we go down to Premier Orlando to launch this whole thing after...
In 2012?
Is it we're at 18?
Yeah, we're 18 now. So how many years?
Oh, it's probably 2013.
Okay, all right.
And so I went to a barber event before that just to let the barbers try it out, and they fell in love with it. They fell in love with how it felt on the hair and stuff. And I instantly had like credibility with the barbers, and I went to the show with all my wacky friends, this barber event, and so they meshed in, and it became this whole, like, again, we're not part of their culture.
Right.
We're not barbers, but we can throw down.
Yeah.
And we made our mark on that event, and everybody's like, oh man, those
They're
Gibbs
top
guys,
of the event. Yeah.
they're out of their mind.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to we went to Premier Orlando, and Donna was there, and the people from the industry knew that Donna is rolling something out new. And so people were finding the booth.
There's a buzz.
Not so much for my beard oil, but let's see what Donna did.
Mm-hmm.
And then Donna would introduce me to some of the best manufacturers reps, the people from Cosmoprof.
It's like Shark Tank. You know, that's what it feels like, huh?
It was crazy. Yeah. Every big distributor knows her, came by, oh, Donna, great to see you, hug, kiss. She'd be like, I want you to meet the owner. This is Gib. And then she would disappear and leave me with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept collecting cards, and everybody's like, well, we'd love to carry your line. We'd love to carry your line. And I turned to Donna at the end of the second day of the show. I said, what do I do? What do I tell all the people? She said, just be the king at the prom, take everybody's business card, and we'll figure out what we're going to do after this. Let's just make sure we have something. So, long story short, we decided to make a commitment with Cosmoprof, who is got a division called DBE, who services sport clips.
Yep.
And we decided to make an exclusive approach and give Cosmoprof.
Wow. So you had all these coming at you.
Yeah.
You decided we're going to narrow it down to one organization.
The biggest, the best. If we can make it there, we can make it anywhere, like Sinatra says, you know?
In New York, boy.
In New York. If we, we're either going to succeed or fail very quickly, because they promised us 1,200 stores across the country.
At that time. Yeah.
Their DBE division, which was all of you guys, and plus they had 600 salespeople on the street knocking on doors.
Wow.
So I had to raise a lot of money at that point quickly to fill the pipeline.
Yep. Now, how much inventory did you have on hand at this point?
Oh, like, I don't know.
Handfuls.
$30,000 worth.
Okay.
I needed to raise like $500,000.
Right. From the guy who used to have millions of feathers to only show up at this big show with $30,000 of inventory, right?
Well, you didn't want to get stuck with a bunch of beard oil.
Been there, done that.
Because you know what? I still have mountains of feathers because that trend.
Those damn roosters.
Yeah. And so if anybody wants any feathers.
Hairfeather.com. You still have the website?
No.
Oh, never mind.
We closed it down. But we have, so we went out there with them, and we started to hear that infamous buzz that people said, like, what is this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we have never seen one SKU do so much so quickly. Mm-hmm. And the president or the head of sales from Cosmoprof called us in and said, Gib, we want to talk to you. Like the bagel thing, I didn't know bagels were blowing up.
Right.
He's like, men's grooming is blowing up right now. And I didn't make beard oil because I wanted to get in on a trend. Mm-hmm. I made beard oil because I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And there happened to be a men's grooming trend blowing up. And he said, and when we do these trade shows and see your booth with all your friends and your barbers and everything and the music and everybody's partying, the people from the other brands are hanging out in your booth.
Yeah.
You have a brand. You have beard oil. but you have more than that. You have some of the best barbers in the world working with you.
Yep.
You have Donna Federici in the chair, who's created some of the best brands in the room. This industry has some big brands, but they're tired. They're not going away, but there's nothing new.
Yeah.
And we need a new men's grooming line. If you want to build a line with Donna at the helm, your barbers
that was the catch, right?
with the product development,
Yeah.
and you with your brand, I think that you could be very successful. And we'll give you all the shelf space you want in all our stores.
Wow.
So I then had to go raise $1 million.
Okay.
And we started developing products under the Gibs brand. Meanwhile, the DBE division of Cosmoprof introduced me to Lori Huddleston at Sport Clips.
Yeah.
And that
Shout
was
out
a
to Lori.
hard meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, they told me, April McCoy and Jenny Bear, who are the top of the DBE thing there, I kept calling them like, when's the Sport Clips meeting? They're like, it takes time.
And not just anybody seeing Lori and getting through Lori. So you now know that. So.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I now know that. But I had this Grateful Dead theory.
Right.
Like, even if I don't have a ticket, I still go to the show.
Yeah.
And I'm going in somehow or another. I'm going to pop a door. I'm going to jump over a turnstile. I'm going to the Dead show.
Did you just camp out in Georgetown, Texas? Wait,
Almost.
What?
Almost. No, they finally got me my meeting with Lori.
Okay.
And we went in, and we showed and we presented. And then Mark Carterick was president at the time, and he really dug what he saw. And Mark since then has become a friend of mine as well, and part of my mentor and sounding board as far as how to and what not to do and in building a brand. And between them, they believed in what we had, and they said, let's give this beard oil thing a shot. And it was incredible. We came into Sport Clips, and the same thing happened. It wasn't just about the beard oil. It was about the brand.
Yep.
And anywhere I went to my first leadership, and Johnny Weber was the area developer at the time. And I was so nervous to give the presentation because I'd never presented like that. And everybody just made me feel so comfortable. And I'm kind of doing what I'm doing now. I didn't do anything but just tell my story.
Right.
And he made me feel comfortable. The stylist made me feel comfortable. Everybody, no one was on their cell phones. Everybody was listening.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was all in. And then Johnny snuck under the table and stuck his iPhone onto a cable or whatever and started piping in, like as I was finishing up, Grateful Dead music, which made me feel good.
Yeah, you were home.
And then at the end, everybody wanted to take their picture with me.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I was like, this is really cool. Yeah. And I was off to the races. Sport Clips as a company, any product that we were coming out with, just like Cosmoprof, of course, we'd go through the proper channels of get it to Lori, run it in the test stores. But we were ready to go with Sport Clips, and then I had this problem, and I called it the math doesn't work. And the math doesn't work means even though every Sport Clips store might like us and like our brand, they don't have the spot in their store to put the product because Paul Mitchell and American Crew, everybody has their spot.
Yep.
And no one's going to throw that away to bring me in. So I crashed in on Mark Carterick one day, and I'm like, what are we going to do here? Because everybody loves it, but nobody's really buying that much. And we came up with an idea of the tailgate, which at the time was a magazine rack. This was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So me and Mark said, let's have a contest and tell everybody to get rid of the magazines because nobody reads magazines anymore. And let's make that a little shrine to Gibs products. And we'll have a contest who sets up the best tailgate, and that will get your stuff in the stores. And then we'll allow all the other brands to rotate through, and everybody can get a shot at the tailgate.
Wow.
I don't even know if that's happening today.
Well,
but
in terms of the rotation?
Yeah.
I'm not sure because most of the ones I see are still Gibbs products.
Correct, because
Yeah.
I think it's the team leader's choice
Yeah.
of how they want to set their tailgate. But that opened up the doors, and that brought in not only just our beard oils and our soaps and our beard balms and our hair products, texture sprays and pomades, and
Yep.
it also helped establish us as a brand. And not for nothing, whenever I go to leadership or whenever I'm talking to area developers and even team leaders, I say, I like them. They're cool, and we have fun.
Mm-hmm. But
They don't grow my brand.
yes,
They're stylists
yes,
too.
yeah.
And they're stylists
and the managers.
and the managers.
Yeah.
They love us.
Well, that's why they wanted their picture with you when they're selfie. Not just because you're a celebrity, but they get a commission on this stuff. So of course they want to sell the product and all that, and you helping lead this. You're helping them. So
Correct.
It's a great relationship.
And you can see when they get behind something and they believe in
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, the momentum grew geometrically. I mean, it was just like boom. We just started blowing up, and I mean, all of the contests that we were having, and just the support. All of a sudden, people were getting tattoos of my logo on them. I'm swearing, unbelievable. Like our skull.
Yeah.
And it just was like,
Well, it is required to be a stylist at Sport Clips. You really do have to have a tattoo. So why not have one? And I'm just kidding.
isn't that
But,
ironic?
Yeah.
Because we went from no tattoos to
I know. Yeah, most of them do. But
and the stylist made us.
yeah.
Anywhere me or my crew went, we were welcomed, not just to be listened to, not just to get product, but to be taken out, having fun, going out for drinks, having chicken wings, all of it.
We're recording this podcast for those that are listening in Denver, Colorado. You being from Fort Collins, and I gave a heads up to some of the stores that we might be stopping by, and I stop by stores and whatever. All right, Chad's coming, but the fact that you're going to be there, I mean, I know they're all getting ready. Their makeup's going to be a little extra today, and they're going to have even more energy when we walk in because they're all going to want to do selfies and Snapchats and all that kind of stuff. So just what you're saying is true. They have helped obviously make your brand, but they're excited by it, and
Yeah.
And by your personality and by what you guys stand for. I want to do this because I know we're running out of time here. I want to respect your time. You do something pretty cool with Help a Hero,
Mm-hmm.
and something a really cool perk for the manager or a couple managers of stores that really promote that scholarship program with Gibs beard oil and products and stuff. Can you walk with Help a Hero now coming up in a couple weeks, October, November timeframe? Can you give me a rundown on what exactly it is that you guys do in terms of an experience for the managers?
Yeah, well, through I've always been a big supporter of the military and law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was a natural fit that Gordon has done this incredible thing for Help a Hero, and we through the help of DBE have put together what was a fun concept and contest for all stores across the country. Whoever sells the most Gibs during the Help a Hero month, which this year was April.
Yep.
And that we would pick the top dozen people, and that they could basically come and share a couple days in the life of where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing fancy, but not fancy.
Right.
And make it a real, and I underline the word real, a real good time.
Yeah.
Genuine good time.
So are we talking whitewater rafting, camping, all the s'mores? I mean, what do
We've done it 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And first year we came to Fort Collins with everybody, and we showed them a time out at a brewery tour. We went and threw a party at Big Smooth's house, and then we
cool.
went whitewater rafting, and then we went out on a lake in party boats, and everybody, had some food and beers, and we just
I
had a
assume
good time.
bagels were on the menu at
We
some
went
point?
to Gibbs
Okay,
Bagels
all right.
because coincidentally, the original Gibbs Bagels shares an outdoor patio with a Sport Clips.
Oh, what in
Isn't
the
that
world?
funny?
That's awesome.
And so, so we were out there, and we had bagel breakfast one day, And then this year we brought it up to the mountains, to Breckenridge. And we got this huge house. It was a 22-bedroom house.
Oh, my
so like
word.
a big family. And my buddy Tom, who's a chef and who also works at the bagel stores,
Yeah.
came up and cooked for everybody, all the meals.
Oh, wow.
And we just used that as a hangout central place. All the stylists came in, a couple people from DBE and a couple people from corporate, and we just tore it up. We went whitewater rafting, cooked amazing meals, drank beers, rock climbed, and just had a great experience where we got to meet the people that have been putting us on the map on another level. And I mean, everything that we've done, whether it be with Help a Hero or whether it be in your huddles or in your leaderships, everything in Sport Clips has nurtured and fortified this company that has made it solid. And we do business all over the world. Mm-hmm. But Sport Clips is the backbone of Gibs' success, and I'll always be the first to say that. I mean, the stylists and the managers of this company have done an incredible job of building my brand with us, and it's been a group effort. Everybody has really made it an incrable thing. I can't say thanks enough.
Well, and the fact that you drove from Fort Collins to Denver, you put your you had you and I were talking about your busy weekend that you had leading up to this interview. It speaks volumes about how you feel about Sport Clips. So I thank you for being here. I do want to say, if you do this Breckenridge or this trip again next year, you said some people from headquarters support team were there. I'm just wondering if there's a spot for the director of marketing. Anyways, I'm just going to float that out there.
I'm saying most definitely.
Okay. I wasn't going to put you on the spot, but I was going to edit this. You
would be an asset.
Okay. I was going to edit this podcast to insert you saying yes at some other point to that question. So, anyways, we'll have that on record now. So
okay, it's on the record.
Cool. Okay, I always like to wrap up these fun podcasts with 10 questions.
Okay.
10 random questions. I've been asking you follow-up questions to a lot of stuff. I'm going to not ask follow-up questions to these. So whatever you say goes. All right? So number one, these are silly, by the way, most of them. Which superpower would you most like to have?
I'd like to fly.
You'd like to fly.
Yeah.
You fly fishermen would like to fly. Okay. What is your, with all the feathers that you've got, you could fly. Anyways, number two, what is your personal motto?
My personal motto is, I have a few of them. You know, we've had, every year we come out with a new one for the company.
Okay.
Live free, look good, no apologies, no regrets, with a little message behind them. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite ones is no apologies, no regrets. And it's not cocky. It's just like, if you're true to yourself and true to the people you work with, you'll never have a reason to have to apologize, and therefore you don't have the regrets. So
good. I
dig that one.
Other than where you live now, which is beautiful, where else in the world would you most like to live?
In the world?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I would like to live on an island.
Okay. So you can fish.
There's a little place that I know that I would hide.
Okay. All right. So an island that nobody else knows about. It's yours.
It's hard to get there.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that a mystery.
It's off the coast of Venezuela.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes.
So we'll Google Earth that. If we ever can't find you.
Well, you can't make it through Caracas now. It's too dangerous.
We'll send the satellites looking for you. Number 4. Who is a celebrity you'd most like to meet one day?
That I'd like to meet.
That you haven't already.
A celebrity that I would like to meet would probably be, that's tough. I'm a big movie guy. Mm-hmm. And I would like to meet Jack Nicholson.
What? I was going to guess that for some reason. Holy moly.
Were you really?
Yes, I was.
He's one of my favorites. I mean, right from his early work.
You seem like the guy who would love him.
An Easy Rider, right through The Shining, and everything he's done has been incredible. Wow. I love Jack.
Okay, well, my only thing is, if we put this out in the universe and you ever do get to meet him, you got to get me his autograph.
Okay.
All right? So anyway, so when that happens. Now, which words or phrases do you most overuse?
Cool.
Cool? All right, we'll check the transcript to see how many times you said in this one.
Yeah, that's cool.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, waves, the ocean.
And you're in this landlocked state
That's
of
what
Colorado.
I'm saying. I was just telling you, I gotta be. I'm a fisherman.
Yeah.
I need to be on the water.
Yeah. All right. What sound or noise do you hate?
Sirens.
Okay. What profession, other than your own, would you have been good at or at least have wanted to try? Now, that's a generic question I asked. I think you've tried everything. But was there something that you thought, man, I maybe could have done this? Or
No, because most anything I said that, I did it.
Yeah.
I really did.
I think that's
I'm
an
pretty
acceptable
fulfilled.
answer. This serial entrepreneur has done it all. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement, like in business or life?
You tell me. It's just a question mark after the word achievement.
That I parented 2 boys
All
that
right.
are awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
And they turned out good.
What are their
because
names?
I was not too good as a kid.
Yeah, you're good. You made
My
it
parents
now.
were like, it's payback time. But,
Yeah.
they
Let's
never
give them a
paid me
shout
back.
out. Who?
My older son, Quint, who's living
Okay.
in Bozeman, Montana.
Okay.
And my younger son, Jacob. And he's right down in Boulder, going to CU Boulder.
You looked out the window as though you could see him. You know,
Yeah.
here we're in Denver. You're looking
I
out.
just had a great weekend with him. I was reflecting, we had a great time
God.
for Labor Day weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, last question. If heaven indeed exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
See, I told you.
Awesome. Hey, I've had the most fun. I was supposed to have a fun 35 minutes. I've had a fun 50 minutes, but
Was
that's
it
what
5-0?
happens. Yes, I'm telling you. We just had
I talk
too
too
much.
much. You should've
No,
given me the-
what are you
the
talking
fingers
about?
across
no
the
way.
throat.
I'd be in trouble if I cut any of this out. So we're gonna go visit some stores. You and I
Okay.
surprise some people, and I've got some stuff to give them. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Oh, it's been awesome. My pleasure.
Everybody else, we look forward for you tuning in to the next episode of the Sport Clips Hall of Fame podcast.